Anytime I go somewhere, the Nigerians are like, no, you don't understand. Nigeria is like this. The South Africans are like, oh, you don't understand. South Africans like this. The Kenyans are saying, no, Nairobi and Lamu. And you're like, you don't understand. And from where we were sitting, we're like, but somebody here sent us this message and they said this is an issue for them. Somebody else sent us this message and they're in Toronto and they said this is an issue. Somebody in Durban said this issue. I'm like, y'all, we're actually a lot more similar. We're all trying to figure out how to be successful on our own terms. Hey
guys, welcome to the A1 with Moyin. Now it is Tuesday, so that means a brand new episode. I am really excited for you to kind of dig into this conversation that we have for you today, and whether you are watching it on the YouTube channel or listening to it on the podcast platforms, I really hope you enjoy it. So today I am interviewing the amazing Afua Osei. Now she's well known for She Leads Africa. I mean, She Leads Africa is a platform that just really took over the continent, empowering amazing female entrepreneurs. But we didn't want to focus on that. Currently, so many people have, I don't want to say different lives, but different focuses post-pandemic. I've noticed this by interviewing a number of people where they're like, you know what, yes, I've done this, but this is what I'm trying to set my eyes on. This is what I'm trying to focus on. And so we talk about that. You know, in this interview, I ask her a few things about her journey, but also a few things that we can learn, because currently she is empowering other entrepreneurs. Make sure you share your thoughts with me. You can just tag me on social media at Moy the A1. So I'm going to end this intro right here, and I hope you enjoy this episode. And if you do, let me know. Tag me at Moy the A1. Enjoy. Well, firstly, Afua, thank you so much for joining me on this conversation. I am really, really excited to get into this with you, because I feel like you're somebody on the continent that inspires a ton of people. You've done a body of work which is incredible. When you start mentioning White House, Michelle Obama, I feel like there's like nothing else to say. Do you know what I mean?
I wish. My mother does not believe you. My mother does not agree. My mother is like, will Michelle Obama take care of you when you're old? And I'm like, okay.
Oh, she's trying to get you married.
Of course. What else can she do? What else?
Listen, that's another conversation for another day. If my mom heard this conversation, we'll both be in trouble at this point.
It's like they have the same script. They all have the same script. They all have the same talking points. It's like they went to a conference or a committee meeting and they're like, this is what we're talking about this year. Here is how we're going to pressurize and make them feel guilty. Here are really, this, if you really want to get them to cry, this is what you do. So absolutely, they all know each other and they're all together in this shared mission.
Absolutely. Now you've done, like I said, some incredible work, from being co-founder of She Leads Africa, which I think is what a lot of people have known you for. But what I'm excited to get into this conversation with you about is the fact that a lot of people are starting to change up their direction and their focus post-pandemic. Pandemic was a reset button. It was opened a lot of eyes for a number of people. And now the importance of digital in Africa, especially, I think a ton more people are seeing it. Even though a number of digital creators have known this for some time, we feel like the rest of Africa is finally
catch up. Come on now.
Exactly, and we feel like pandemic was just, during the pandemic we were like, but we told you though. But we told you.
But you didn't listen. But you didn't want to open your ears. It's true. I agree with you. Absolutely.
And now you are equipping and helping other digital entrepreneurs with the skill sets and knowledge that you've acquired over the years. So for those who don't know you, can you give us a brief intro to who you are?
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Moyin, for having me on your platform, on your podcast, talking to your people. I am so grateful and appreciative when anybody wants to talk to me, because I have a 2-year-old niece who does not have my time. I be trying to have conversations with her and she just walks away, doesn't even acknowledge my presence. So thank you for filling in that gap in my life, Moyin. I appreciate you. Yes, thank you, girl. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Afua Osei, and I like solving problems. I think that is really the most accurate reflection when I think about my career, when I think about how I've gotten to wherever it is that I am, because who even knows? Next week, I might be doing something different. I'm a problem solver, and I like to help people. I've been able to do that through politics, and once upon a time, I thought I was going to run for office. I realized that that's not the direction for me, but I saw the power of policies and government programs to really support people and help make people's lives easier. I like to solve problems through business. I was a management consultant, and I loved being able to go into organizations and help them see what's missing and help them be more efficient. Done that through media and community, and She Leads Africa was an incredible opportunity to bring young women together and remind them, because I think people know it. They already know that they are absolutely incredible, that they can achieve their dreams. And here are the skills, resources, and opportunities to make it happen, right? And to make it easier for people to do that. And now I play a lot on the internet. And now I love helping other digital entrepreneurs figure out how they can do it too. How can they create a business model that works for them? Direct to consumer is not for everybody. Selling on Instagram is not for everybody. Having to have a fashion line is not for everybody. So really helping them figure out what's the business model that works best for me, and how can I do it in a way that aligns with my values, my lifestyle, and how I want to, live my life, and go from there. So at the end of the day, I'm a problem solver. I want to help people. I want to make things easier for people, because I'm not here for struggle. I'm here for enjoyment. Like, enjoyment. Enjoy it, please, in all things, in all ways. So if I can help other people enjoy their lives, I would, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious as to, okay, no, I'll probably save that question for a little later. Now, a lot of people know you for She Leads Africa. That's one in Africa. Now, you lived in the US for quite some time, but you made quite an impact on the continent. And as a Black female, I was your target market.
Yes, that means it was working. Well done, marketing team. It was working.
Definitely. But one thing I admired about what you guys built was the fact that you really were able to make a presence in Africa and not in a specific African country. I think a lot of people struggle with that. And right now, as the world is becoming smaller digitally, and I think a lot more people are opening up their understanding of the continent and what they can do with digital platforms, it still seems to some degree that there's still barriers, whether that's mentally or actual barriers in creating either content or a presence for your company, for your brand, personal brand, business, whatever, on an African, with an African focus. How are you guys able to do it, if I can put it that way?
All of those things that you highlighted are absolutely correct. From mindset barriers to actual barriers, they all exist, and they all keep people from really seeing the true opportunity of what they can achieve. I think the first thing, it always starts with your perspective and how do you approach issues. And our perspective was that, one, people are more alike than they are different. And I love it, because anytime I go somewhere, the Nigerians are like, no, you don't understand. Nigeria is like this. The South Africans are like, you don't understand. South Africa is like this. The Kenyans are saying, no, Nairobi and Lamu. And you're like, you don't understand. And from where we were sitting, we're like, but somebody here sent us this message and they said this is an issue for them. Somebody else sent us this message and they're in Toronto and they said this is an issue. Somebody in Durban said this issue. I'm like, y'all, we're actually a lot more similar. We're all trying to figure out how to be successful on our own terms. We're all struggling with culture and communities that can sometimes limit us. We're all struggling with not being able to find the right game plan and the right way forward. And so from our perspective, because we were getting messages, DMs, and I think that's the beauty of digital, is that people can connect to you from all over. From our side, everything was looking real similar. It was a lot of similarities. So our job was to say, hey, there's a problem here that a lot of people are facing. And of course, you can't serve everybody. And we've never said that. We were never for the girls. We were never for the teenagers. We were never also for the very senior people. Very clear. We were targeting millennial, digitally enabled young women. They're on social media. They're on websites. They're working outside the home. But this is who we want to serve and support. We then said, okay, if this is our focus, how do we do that? So you absolutely have to like believe that you can do it first and foremost. And then you put some real practical things in place to make it happen. For example, if you want to get money from different places, that is a real actual barrier that exists. I mean, I won't go into this, but Nedbank really made us suffer. Like, it was not easy to open a bank, even though they were like, here's a non-resident bank account in South Africa. Nedbank, so I'm sorry if Nedbank is one of your sponsors, Moyin. I'm sorry.
They're not.
Like, it actually was not a good experience for us at all. And I think the real thing is many of our institutions don't make it easy for people who are not from that country, if you're another African, to open a bank there, to do business. They can make it quite challenging. So you have to actually realize the real infrastructure issues around payments and finance. And thankfully, there are a lot more digital solutions that are coming up that are making it easy. But, you know, somebody was in Zimbabwe and she wanted to come to one of our events in Johannesburg and she couldn't make payments. She couldn't make payments. She was like, there is a restriction on how many international transactions I can do. And so I have to make payments over 4 days. And we were using a South African ticket platform and they wouldn't allow payments like that. So just like, that's a real barrier if you're trying to get money from people in different markets. That's real life. So you have to say strategically, how are you going to pull together all the different products and services that you need to make it make sense? I also think that you have to know what's going on in people's communities. You have to make it a point to read the books, listen to the music, follow the people that are important to them so that you can connect authentically. I think lastly, you want to have people on your team that are local champions. And you can do that in a freelance way, or you can do that in an advisory board kind of way, but you have to be checking in with your people. Like, that's how you make it make sense. And that's how you actually are able to stay connected to people consistently and hopefully create something relevant that they're going to be interested in.
Absolutely. Now, generally with this podcast, we talk about the person, so the person behind the brand and their journey towards creating the success that is. Now, the great thing about you, since there's a lot of information about you online.
That's why I'm even like, what else do I need to talk about again? I've told everybody everything. Like, what else? I don't have any new life. Like, I've had the same life. There's nothing new. So, Moyin, if you have a new topic, maybe like what time I was born, I don't know. I can call my mom. Like, I don't have no new information. My whole life is outside on the internet.
Well, let's see. We'll try some. We might hit some similarities, but I never want to ask questions that have been out there anyway. But I'm curious in terms of your mindset into who you've become now. Because you lived in the States. There was honestly no reason for you, if you really wanted it, to move back to West Africa.
Yeah, no reason at all. No reason.
Really. You could have just been like, I get the digital works well here, I like what I'm doing, I can kind of create a vibe on this side before going to Ghana, or then building something on the African continent. But you obviously saw an opportunity, and you felt like this was something you could create. What for you personally, now this could be within the business setting, this could be within the personal setting, moving back that initial year was some of the things that, I don't want to say were a shock, but challenges?
Yeah, mindset overall, and it's so funny because you look back and you're like, wow, I was doing some dumb stuff. Like, what? I was doing some dumb stuff. But my mindset had always been that I want to do cool work. Like, I want to do cool things. I want to learn. I want to keep growing. And so I would take leaps that were anchored towards that. Everyone has different things that are important to them. And I'd really encourage everybody out there, regardless of the stage that you're in your career, your life, your business, is to identify what your personal values are. Because whatever your values are, that's how your life will be aligned around. And many times, we don't think out loud what's important to us. So things just come to us and we just go with the flow, as opposed to prioritizing and saying, I'm making choices based on this. I'm making choices based on my faith. I'm making choices based on my priorities. I'm making choices based on my money. Like, whatever it is, state it out loud and use that as your decision maker. So for me, during that time in my career, it was like, I want to learn new things and I want to have fun. And that's it. And I would go for opportunities and I would just go for it. I had a chance to do a summer internship in Lagos, Nigeria. It was my first time drinking champagne. I was on a rooftop eating goat meat. I said, oh, is this life? Is this life? This is the life that I could be living? Let's go. Let's go. So that's the funny part of the story. No, that's the truth. That actually did happen. I didn't make that up. But wait, I was able to meet so many other young, incredible, like Africans from all across the continent. Everybody was excited. Everybody was interested. Everybody was like, I want to do something regardless of my field. From farming to fashion to tech to food. People were like, this is the time to try and make something different. And I wanted to be in that space. I wanted to be in that energy. And I knew I'd be able to learn and try something new. So that's what it really was. Now, as I continue to like transition into other phases of my career, I try to think about, okay, how can I still learn? Many times we get stuck and we're like, oh, we've been doing this for 3 years, 4 years. Can I do something again? You absolutely can. You can start. You can try. It'll be weird being a beginner again because we get to a point where we're known a little bit or we're good at something and we're like, we don't want to embarrass ourselves. We don't want to look bad anymore. But you absolutely can do it. You absolutely can get better and continue to grow and scale. So that was important to me. And I also was choosing career over other things. I was choosing career over health. Like, I wasn't really focused on working out all the time. I was choosing career over friends and family. All my friends and family were in the U.S. So, I moved to somewhere that's a 13-hour flight. Like, come on now. People can't just hop, jump, and skip to see you like that. 5-6 hour time zone day. So that was something that I chose up front. And I also feel like sometimes we have to recognize that we make that choice. You can't go and blame the job. That job didn't force you to take it. You knew what it was. And so if you make that choice, then you're deciding that that's a value that's more important to you and you need to act accordingly. So that's my mindset was. Now, in terms of like, if things were difficult, what I've seen is that everywhere, all across the world, people want to be safe. They want to be healthy. They want to take care of their families. They want to feel important. People are very similar. There are definitely locations that are different in the way that people express that desire and the way people live that out. But at its core, people are very similar. So what I tried to do is just try to focus on the commonalities instead of the differences and also respecting it for what it is. So like I had a colleague at the time that was like, oh my gosh, why doesn't this work? Why doesn't this work? It's not like the U.S. at all. I'm like, but you left the U.S. So why are you expecting it to be like the U.S.? You're comparing it against the wrong thing. You really just need to accept it for what it is and then figure out how to design the kind of life that you want to live. It definitely was stressful. Like the holidays that I was used to, I didn't get to celebrate them. My family would call me. Thanksgiving is a big American holiday. You get with your family. Everyone's eating. My family would call me and show me all the food that they were eating. And I'm like, this is not, I don't want to be on this call. Why is this a tradition? I don't want to watch other people enjoy and eat food. Like, don't include me anymore. So, that kind of stuff was weird. And then, of course, also being the last to know things because they're like, oh, you're so far away, you're not going to get that. So that's a bit challenging and it's difficult. It's really hard to just be in a space all by yourself, no family. You build friends over time, but that first year, didn't know anybody, didn't have anybody to connect with. And so that definitely made it a bit more challenging. But it just reminded me and it encouraged me to be like, I can do hard things. I can keep doing hard things. I can keep trying to figure it out. If I've done it before, I can do it again. As the old song says, as it says.
Now, you kind of touched on something that I feel like a lot of people are currently going through, which is tying one's identity to some work that they've done. So I'll make it personal. I was even saying this is anyway. So I used to say I'm a YouTuber. That's what my platform was. That was how everyone started to know me. I created content on YouTube, and that was that. Until I realized that that was such a limiting thing to say, because my whole identity is now tied to this platform that I don't even own.
You don't even own it at all, girl. At all,
I don't
girl.
even own it. And I think now with COVID and with a lot of the changes that have been coming up, certain things that people have created, built, they have tied themselves to platforms that they feel like were part of their identities. They now want to do something else, move forward, do other things. And that shift is not an easy one. It can get very tricky. It can, trying to leave what you knew behind and let other people see you in a different light is also something that can be challenging at times. And I know you've been going through a transition career-wise. So what would you say, well, actually, how has it been for you?
What I think every business owner wants to get to, or hopefully they should get to, is a point where the business runs without them, which is an incredible blessing and opportunity, because it means that you took something that was in your head, you put it in your hands, and you then created something that people love, that people enjoy, and that people want to invest and grow in as well. So that's always been the plan, is to build up others, to help them grow, to help them find success in the organization, and for it to not be about us as individuals. That's it. So that is, so that's like always the priority and shift. And so as an entrepreneur, the plan has always been succession planning. That's what they call it. And it's really ominous. It's so ominous, succession planning. You're like, where am I going? What happened? What's happening? But I think it's important to be like, how does the organization run without you? Even if that means a vacation. If you're on vacation, how's the business run without you? How can you make sure that all your plans, your processes, everything is in place so that it's not just about you, and that you taking a break, you going on maternity leave or paternity leave, you having to spend some time taking care of your family doesn't just throw into the wayside all the hard work that you've done. So that's always been the plan from day one. So ultimately, it's great to be able to continue to grow and have the people in the organization continue to grow. And then as an individual, you don't want to be a bottleneck to the growth of the company. You also want to be able to continue to build and develop yourself. And what does that next stage of development look like? Sometimes I think it's just health, right? Like, could I be a better person and a better manager if I went to the gym and I had that time to take that release? Could I be a better manager if I spent more time with my family? And I would then be able to be more refreshed and recharged when I connect with people. So I think if you're an entrepreneur, at the beginning stages, you absolutely have to like hustle, work hard, you're doing everything. But then once you get out of that, it really has to be about, how can I be the best person that I can be so that this organization can be the best organization that it can be? Sometimes those things will align, and that's fantastic. And other times it won't align. I saw the article recently how the head of TikTok is stepping down.
Listen, I've been talking about it all week.
Yeah, the head of TikTok is stepping down because he said there are certain skills that are needed as a manager that I don't have. And that's real talk. That is absolutely real talk. You may have an excellent idea, but that may not always be where you're best placed for the moment. So when I think about transitions, when I think about next steps, I always think it requires radical honesty, or as much honesty as you can give yourself, and transparency to say what's best at this time for me as a person and the skills and talents that God has blessed me with, as well as what's best for the organization as well. And continuing to think about that. When I think about me personally, I always tell people that I feel like I have already had 5 lives. Like, I did the politics thing, I did the management consultant thing, I did the living overseas thing, I did the founder thing, I've done the media thing. Like, what's next? I got at least 4 or 5 different lives. And I tried it, and like, I like that, and I like thinking about it like that because it just encourages me to be like, sis, there is still more to life. There's still more to life for all of us. Just because you have this one idea, or just because you really love YouTube at a time, you can walk away It doesn't have to be the end all be all. It can be a great part of your story. But the beauty of the story is the transition. It is the growth. It is how things are moving forward. It is how things have changed over time. And so that is, I think, what's really powerful and what's really important. And I think we all need to remember that, like, we are the story. Like, we are the story, not the things that we're doing, not the titles that other people gave us. None of that. We are absolutely the most important part of it.
You've actually mentioned it twice now in this interview, health. And
absolutely. We got to do it. You know, once you hit 30 plus and those knees start knocking and that back starts cracking, you're like, whoa, wait a minute now.
I feel like, I also don't know if it's like a mental thing, but like I turned 30 last year and I'm like, now every time there's pain, I'm like, okay, is this just me? Just like, oh, is this age? Like, is this?
Yeah, and you're like,
is this
do
what's
I
happening
have
now?
arthritis? Do I need calcium? And you're like, whoa, you just didn't stretch. Like, come on now. But absolutely, it's real life.
And, you know, there's always been this debate about if people did not like hustle hard and like give their everything, would they ever be as successful as they are now? You know, whether it's because obviously wellness is such an important thing to a person. Yes, a company being built or a brand being built and all of that is great, but one's health in the end, nothing compares to that. And you know, there's always this big debate about, oh, for some time you might have to just focus and hustle hard. And with you, as you're now moving into this next phase of your life, do you still believe that?
Well, I believe in seasons, and I also believe that success looks different for everybody. And you have to define success for you. That, I think, is so critical. Many of us are going off of other people's definitions of success. Who told you that that is what success looks like? Why do you even think that that's going to be good for you? Right? Why do you even want to be wealthy? Why would you even want to be a billionaire? For what? For what? Like, what? For why? What is it going to do for you? And so I think what's really most important, especially with this conversation around health and wellness, is to think about, like, what is my version of success? And for some people, they're like, I want to be home by 4:00 every day so that I can spend time with my family. And so I can, you know, do homework with my kids. And that's their version of success. And I don't think that just looking at it from a financial or a wealth generation perspective is the only way to do it. Because that is just, it doesn't capture the fullness of our experiences as humans. It doesn't work. Or you got all this money, but then you're 50 years old and your back breaking, your hips too tight. You can't move anything. Like, come on now. So I think, I just think that there needs to be a broader exploration of what success looks like. And I said it a little bit earlier about prioritizing your values, to say, what are the values that are driving you during this moment? And there will be times when it's challenging, because we all look around. We all see what other people are doing, what other people are driving, what other people are wearing. That's natural and that's human nature. But I think what pulls you back to your core is to say, hey, like, is this actually important to me, or is it triggering me in some kind of way? And do I need to adjust the way I'm thinking and looking at it? Because if you had it, would you even want it? I could care less about cars. I could care less about that. But I do care about being able to travel and spend time with my friends and family whenever I want. And that's how I then prioritize other things that I do. So I think that's really what's important, is that we all define what success looks like for us. And we then prioritize those things that are going to get us to that stage and to that point.
Well, then let's talk about now Afua and where she's headed to. Now, let's talk about that. You're now helping other entrepreneurs equip themselves, especially when it comes to brand partnerships, just partnerships, business partnerships in general. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'll be honest with you, I never know what I'm doing. I never know where I'm heading, because that's the beauty of being open. So I can absolutely say right now, what I really enjoy doing is, you know, I'm so grateful that She Leads Africa has a set of partners and clients that are committed to long term, and our ability to be able to build those relationships and work with those clients, it's such a blessing, right? I don't take that for granted. But I also don't think that we have to be the only ones. I don't think we're that special. I mean, it's cool, but we're not that special. And so I'd love for other digital entrepreneurs to just think beyond their borders. I think physically and I think mentally, and to think about how can I build something that looks different and is built for me. I could not do, right now, I couldn't do a direct-to-consumer business and have 10,000 different people having to ship out a bunch of product, have people looking for me. Don't nobody look for me. Don't look, I'm closed. I don't like that. But having 5 clients that I work with consistently over 6 to 9 months, that matches who I am and my style. And I don't feel like we get exposed to those different kind of possibilities. We don't get shown those different kind of options. And then we feel as if, okay, this is how this one podcaster made money. This is how this other person made money. So I got to do it too. This is how I have to do it. And I don't think so. So I wanted to and I'm grateful for the chance to be able to show people that, hey, maybe this might look a little different for you. And that's absolutely cool. It might be structured differently, but it's going to be designed for you and it's going to fit your own preferences and style. So I encourage people to think about, okay, who's your dream client and what would you need to offer them for it to make sense? And what would you need to communicate with them in order for it to really pop out? And how can you use the skills and talents and expertise that you have? Like, you already have this, you're already great at it, but how can you just get it in front of the people who are already looking for you, but they're just paying other people to do it because they don't know you exist? And how can you be professional? How can you be consistent? How can you be organized to make it happen? So that's what I love doing. I love doing it for experts, for entrepreneurs, for creatives. Like, you don't have to be an influencer to do this. I don't know why everybody thinks you got to be an influencer.
I think people associate, for some reason now, they just associate digital.
Yeah, and I get it. And I get it. Like, I absolutely get it. And I think also social has just like blown everything up. But it's like companies have been hiring consultants forever. Companies have been hiring freelancers. They've been hiring outside experts. They've been hiring trainers forever. So it's really about this model. This business model has traditionally been very small, very low key. Not a lot of young people, not a lot of brown people, not a lot of women have been able to access it because you have to have these relationships. It's not as easily accessible. So I'm like, no. Let's open it up. Let's have more people know that this exists, that this is an option, and this is how they can go about getting in there and getting these opportunities.
Okay, I'm gonna segue a little bit. What do you like doing for fun?
How do you spend your time?
First and foremost, sleep. Sleep is such an enjoyable experience. We need sleep. You need sleep because, like, you need sleep. Your body needs to recover, and it's just peaceful. I love it. I love it. I'm thankful I've gotten back into the gym recently because that COVID 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, woo. It happened. So it feels good to move my body again, to be out, like, even if it's going for a walk, even if it's doing some light movement, it just feels good to be able to move and feel fresh. So I'm having fun there. I also do enjoy babysitting my niece. And these are all the things that I didn't get to do when the priority was just work. That was a great season. I loved it. But now, I'm free to babysit. I can babysit. I'm so tired. That's why I got to sleep after babysitting her because she just runs me ragged. But I do love that. And I love to read. And lastly, I like to use other people's Netflix accounts. So, let's also be honest there. I love it so much. Every device that I have like a different person's Netflix account logged in. I love it.
Okay. What it is.
I mean, this is an honest platform, Moyin. That's what you told me to come and bring my full self.
Full self. Be your full self. We love it. Absolutely love it.
That's it.
Okay. Personally, I love the fact that you're like, I don't necessarily have to know exactly what I'm doing right now. Like, this is where I'm at. I think sometimes people struggle with that and just accepting that it's okay.
Oh, let me say, it's absolutely a struggle. That one is, there are days where it's weird. It's definitely days where it's weird and you're just like, maybe I should go and get something. Or maybe I should just try this one project. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no. It's okay to relax. And I also try to appreciate the moment. Because when else are we going to have a global pandemic? Hopefully never again. Hopefully never again in our lifetimes. But we have it. And I think sometimes we rush through moments. Think about when you're in secondary school. Or you're, in school and you're like, okay, I can't wait to get to university. I can't wait. And then you go through it and you rush through it. Then you're in university. And you're like, okay, I can't wait to be a grown-up, get my own place, get my own job. And so you rush through it. Then you grown up and you're like, man, all I do is pay bills and be on Zoom calls. And it's like, I could have enjoyed that time and that experience. So none of us know what might happen, what new opportunity might evolve, how the world might change. And so I'm just trying my best to be as present as possible to say, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's okay. So let's just see and let's just enjoy it while we can. And whatever enjoyment looks like in this context.
True. I think also as West Africans, we're built to work. I don't think like resting is in the vocabulary when we're growing up. It's like, these are the goals, this is the target, especially if you are diaspora. Listen, we brought you into this country because we're trying to head in that direction. And I was chatting to a friend of mine actually recently in Johannesburg, and we're talking about the fact that even the notion of resting and enjoying the process always feels like it's against our natural being.
That's interesting. Or the way that people have told us, is a good way to approach things. Because also it's...
Yeah. Like if you're sitting down doing nothing, there's always something to do.
And I think there's always that joke of when your parents see you chilling and they're like, what's wrong with you? Who told you can chill and relax? And I think that's very real. I also think the challenge is for many of our communities, it's so accomplishment driven.
Yeah.
So you're only as good as the last award or as the last promotion or as the last thing. And people forget you unless you have something new going on. And that is a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. And it's like, you can't always be striving. You won't always be on top. And so if your identity is tucked into, I'm this award winning, or I'm this achiever, I have this client, or I have this project, there'll be a point in time when you're like, well, what happens when I don't have that? And that can be really devastating. Really confusing, really challenging. So I try my best, or I'm trying my best to be like, you know what? In this quiet time, as quiet as it can be, can I just see how things go? And that's it. Just going to see how things go.
So what lessons are you taking from your previous season into this next season? Like crucial things that you've learned from creating, let's say, She Leads Africa or the pre-pandemic. What are some of the vital lessons you've learned that you're taking over into this?
Definitely. I think the first one is that if you eat pizza 3 times a week, your thighs will inform you of that very quickly. And so I think just all around being more mindful of the food that we're eating, the water that we're drinking, just having that be a priority and being mindful of that. That's really important. That's number one. Number two is I think quiet time is so important. Quiet time to just think, just to come up with some new ideas, to just be open to different possibilities and different opportunities and different things like that. So that quiet time, I think, is critical. And carving it out. We can't always be on the go. We can't always be on the run. And that is a little bit of, I think, what's going to be interesting to see post-pandemic is because of all this pent-up energy and people are like, I haven't been outside, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, let's not pick up the bad habits. Like, because some of us weren't good pre-pandemic. We were bad, and we shouldn't be carrying those things along with us. So I want to keep that lesson of just quiet time, because that's when you actually are able to come up with the new possibilities, with the new opportunities, with the new like potential ideas and whatnot. Like actually having that quiet time. I think that's critical. I think thirdly is I want to really make sure that service to others is always part of the work. For many of us, we start a business because we want to solve a problem, and that's so critical. But running a business, it just becomes about running the business, and it can be hard you get further removed from the people that you're trying to serve, because accounting is calling your name, and legal is calling your name, and HR is calling your name, and all these things that are not connected to the actual work that you wanted to do. So I definitely would encourage, and I want to make sure that I'm keeping to say, hey, as it could be in a small way. Maybe you're doing customer service. Maybe you're volunteering somewhere once a week, but just staying as close as possible to the people that you want to connect and the people that you want to serve. And I think lastly is just remembering that we can all do hard things. I've done hard things before, and I can keep doing it. So as new things change, as the world seems so weird and new tech comes out and you're like, should I be on Clubhouse? Should I be on TikTok? I don't know how to dance. I don't know how to be doing all these splits and transitions. To calm down and be like, you know what? I can learn how to do these things, and I'm going to be okay.
I love that. Are you on TikTok?
I have been studying TikTok. I've been studying it because it's very different. And it's if you're a digital person, I think it's really important that you actually take the time to learn the platforms that you want to create on and understand what it looks like to be on those spaces. So in that regard, I am observing it and I'm like, wow, these people are crazy. But I'm getting into it and I'm learning more about it.
Weirdly enough, we this month we're doing TikTok Thursdays, where we're interviewing a bunch of African creators who are doing like really, really well on TikTok. And so we've been working with the team, and it's been an insane journey to like know that platform. But it's a platform for growth. So that's been an interesting one. It's quite interesting that you said that. And then Clubhouse. Oy. That's another one.
But it also just
like
say you've gotten good on YouTube, something else will come, and it shouldn't be something that brings stress or anxiety. It should just be, how can I learn? What's my overall business strategy? And how can I just remind myself that these new things will continue to evolve, continue to grow? And I just need to stay focused on what I can to continue to connect with my community and my audience.
Absolutely. Moving forward now, as somebody who is equipping a number of digital entrepreneurs especially, what advice would you give to somebody who's essentially building in this weird new normal? Like nothing has really settled into, oh, this is how we do things now. Everything really feels like it's kind of maybe going this way, and we're kind of already, okay, cool, I think I understand. Oh no, wait, things are changing. Here we go again. And for a lot of creators, a lot of entrepreneurs, it's a very uncomfortable ride.
Yeah, it's a lot. Absolutely.
So, and obviously on the continent, things don't progress sometimes as quickly as we see them internationally. So even though we can see the international movement and think, oh, that's where it's going, by the time it really has a presence here, there's quite a bit of time. So what advice would you give to someone like that?
Yeah, what I would encourage people to just say is you got to stay grounded in who you are and why you're doing this, because trends will always change. Things will always be moving, but you have to remember why you're here and what problems are you trying to solve, and keep that core and center. I also think that we need to spend more time studying who we are and what we like and we don't like. Many times as creators, because we want to stay relevant, we're trying to do what other people are doing. And I get that. And there's a little bit of that we have to study. We have to pay attention. However, people are connected to your work because of you. They're connected to your work because of your personality, your style, your experience, and you don't want that to get lost and your desire to just grow at all costs, right? I also don't know why anybody's doing pranks on their parents. My parents, they don't play that. So, I also feel like just because you see other people doing things, just think, have some sense, just some small sense, and be like, is that really the approach that I want? Is that the safest approach for me to take? But I think that you have to just really know who you are, Spend as much time as you can just focusing on your own, just like, who am I and how do I want to show up? How do I want to add value? How do I want to serve? I think that'll help you so that as things are moving, as things are changing, then you're staying grounded and you're staying straight to your core. I also think the last thing is to find community, because this thing is hard. It's hard. It's hard to start a business. It's hard to grow as a creator. Sometimes you will spend hours working on something and it will flop. It will flop because that's just life. And you have to have a friend that you'll reach out to be like, man, I spent so many time on this and it flopped. And they're going to laugh with you, right? Or you have to have some people that you can send your content to in advance who are going to give you honest feedback and say, this is what you can do to improve. This is how you can change it. You want to be like, you should just try and be as, like, get that community and have them be as honest and as supportive. And you also support others, also encourage others. But if you don't have community and you're trying to do it by yourself, it's going to be really frustrating and you're going to be really, really, really just feeling like alone and feeling tired, and you don't want to tap out before you actually get a chance to really get into a good groove and for things to be moving forward.
So true. So true. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
for your time. This was a cool conversation.
It was a little different, but that's what we're here for. Bring something fresh and exciting.
Yeah, well, okay. Where can people get in contact with you and your membership?
Absolutely. So if you're a digital entrepreneur and you like what it is that I'm saying, you can connect with me on social media at Hello Afua. That is HELLOAFUA. You can also connect with me on my website, afuaosei.com, AFUAOSEI.com. I do coaching and I do have a membership community for entrepreneurs who are like, I need community. I need an accountability partner. I need someone to show me the way. How can I get these clients? How do I build these relationships? How do I organize and structure it? I'm your girl. I'm here to help. As you can already see, I don't like working with a lot of people, but it's like, okay, just give me about 2 or 3 people. I can work with it. I can make it make sense. We'll get you started, get you getting some clients.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Make sure you go check that out. And yeah, follow on the socials. There's a lot of valuable information that you've been given. And so that's
no
cool.
dancing, but it's valuable information.
I feel like you can dance though.
Yes, excellent. But I also don't want anyone to ever use me as a meme where it's like, oh, that auntie that still thinks she's cool at the wedding. And it's me doing renegade. What? You can't embarrass me like that. No. So no, I have to respect myself on the internet.
Oh my gosh, this conversation is just all over the place. I love it. Oh my word. But you never know. You never know. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And yeah, thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, let me know at Moyin the A1. Also, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcast or any other platform that you can review us on, please do. Until next week, Tuesday. See you then. Love ya. Bye.